All right, so we're in John 4. I'm going to go ahead and read what we're going to be covering, and then we'll go back to it. But let's go ahead and hear the story of the woman at the well. Now when Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus was making and baptizing more disciples than John, although Jesus himself didn't baptize, but only his disciples, he left Judea and departed again for Galilee, and he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the field that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, so Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, was sitting beside the well. It was about noon, the 6th hour. There came a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink," for his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "How is it that you, a Jew, ask for a drink from me, a woman of Samaria? For Jews do have no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it was that is saying to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw water with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob? He gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did his sons and his livestock." Jesus said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty forever. The water that I will give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I will not be thirsty or have to come here to draw water." Jesus said to her, "Go call your husband and come here." The woman answered, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You are right in saying I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where the people ought to worship." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth." The woman said to him, "I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he." When I was around my 13th birthday, I was going over to my friend Rachel Heigard's house. And Rachel was one of my favorite people. Her family was one of my favorite families. I loved being at her house. And we were on the drive over, and my sisters, 2 of my little sisters, were in the car with me. And my grandmother was driving. And my sisters and I were just bickering, as sisters are wont to do. And we pulled up to the front of Rachel's house. And my grandmother turned around and was like, "That's it! Everybody out of the car. I am tired of listening to you." And I was like, "What do you mean everybody out of the car?" "Everyone out. Everyone go to Julia's friend's house, and I'll be back in a couple of hours." And I was like, "Grandma, like you can't do that. Like, A, they don't know if they're coming over, and you can't just dump kids at someone's house and then come back 4 hours later. And B, like, this is my friend's house. Like, this is my thing. You can't. What are you doing?" She was like, "I'm tired of hearing you fighting." Anyway, I was super annoyed with my sisters. I was super frustrated with my grandmother. And I'm walking to the door from the car. That walk from the car to the door felt like a million years, because I was like, I'm going to have to talk to this Rachel's mom and be like, "Hey, yeah, my grandma's kind of crazy, and she's dumping my sisters here, and she'll be back. I don't know when she'll be back, but can they stay for dinner?" It was just embarrassing. Anyway, I get to the door. Ding dong. They open the door, and as I start to say, "Hey, Mrs. Haggard, you hear, 'Surprise!' And Rachel had planned the first surprise party I'd ever been given. And all of a sudden, I wasn't mad anymore. She had invited my sisters to be part of the surprise. And the only way my grandmother could figure out how to get them there without me being suspicious is to have them pick a fight in the car, and then for her to punish them and send them into the birthday party with me. So the whole way there, I was just tortured, and my sisters thought it was hilarious because I was getting angrier and angrier. But that walk, if I had known that behind that door was a party for me, how would that have changed the walk from the car to the door? Yeah, I would have been excited. I would have been ready to party. I would have been happy. I would have been looking forward to it. And I would not have been angry, frustrated, and embarrassed, right? When you know what's really going on, it changes how you think, what you feel, and how you act. So So in this class, we are talking about what's really going on with us. What's the real story about us? Yesterday, we talked about the fact that we were slaves. Jesus, if you are his daughter, has freed you from that, and he's also freeing you from that, right? Because the slavery is like the old man, it just kind of sticks, and we use good things. Everything we're longing for in life is him. And we're using good things to get life out of, and we're wired to get it from him. And I know some of y'all don't believe that yet. That's totally okay. I don't care if you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. You are wired to get everything you need from him. All of the things that you're longing for in life, I don't care if you're a Buddhist or whatever. If you're a human being, what's really true about you is that you are wired for intimacy. You are wired to be known. And all of the things you're really longing for are him. Okay, that was yesterday. And if y'all feel strongly otherwise, come and talk to me. I really love people with different opinions. That is totally okay. I want to hear your thoughts. So, what we're talking about today, human being, from the moment that you were born, your first breath, you have a longing to belong somewhere. You have a longing to be seen. You have a longing to be heard. You have a longing for rest. You have a longing for home. God has set eternity in your heart. And you are made in the image of a triune God, which means it was God 3 in 1 in perfect community from all eternity past to all eternity future. We're made in his image. We're made to belong. There's this show, there was a show, I think it was called Brain Study or something like that. The whole point of the show was to figure out how human beings work, like to study human nature. And one of the things was a guy walks in and he's sitting, he goes to a doctor's office and he's sitting in the doctor's office, and everyone there is an actor except for him. He doesn't know that. He's on hidden video. And the actors in the doctor's office, every once in a while, a bell rings. And when the bell rings, everybody stands up and everybody sits down. And it doesn't matter if they're reading a book or playing with some whatever, the bell rings, they all stand up. And then they all sit down. And he's like, what? Just kind of looking around like, this is weird. Well, after 4 or 5 times that happens, what do you think he starts to do? Yeah. And he hasn't asked anybody anything, but he just kind of hears the bell and he goes, okay. Okay. Like he just does it. And it's interesting because humans are wired to belong. Some of us have drowned that out. We don't think we need people anymore because sometimes it's just too much work or it's just too hurtful. In 2nd grade, we had a jungle gym on our playground. It was one of those oval jungle gyms with like metal bars. We called it the Fortress. And we loved, 2nd grade, anyone who was anybody hung out at the Fortress during recess. And like we talked about it, like, what are we going to do at the Fortress today? Are you going? You know, like some days we'd go and like the girls would try to keep the boys out. Sometimes the boys would try to keep the girls out. Sometimes we'd all sit down and have a picnic together, but it was like all about the Fortress. It was like the 2nd grade drama. Anyway, I had a friend named Laura, and Laura was shy. She was awkward. She picked her nose in 2nd grade. And so she had been hurt by a lot of the other 2nd graders. She had been bullied. So when we talked about going to the Fortress, Laura, do you want to come to the Fortress with us? Are you going to go to the Fortress today? The Fortress is for babies. And we were all like, we're not babies. But she didn't need the Fortress, right? She was too cool for the Fortress. And at first we thought, Laura doesn't need it. Like, she doesn't need the Fortress. She doesn't want it. But the interesting thing is, if you paid attention, every once in a while, you could see Laura after school, in the mornings before school, in the Fortress by herself. The Fortress was the social scene of 2nd grade. The well is the social scene of this girl's life. Life was found centered around the well. It was the source of water for the community, source of sustenance for the community. It was the social place, the social gathering place. A lot of commentators talk about it being a place where you would go to pick people up. Like, it was different, but like that's where you would go to meet guys. It was the social scene of the town. The women would always go together in the morning to get water for their families, and they would go for several reasons in a group. Protection. They would go because it was cumbersome work and you needed help. It was awkward and heavy. But also just to hear the news of what's going on and to be part of the society, be part of the culture. So that was the social scene. So anyone reading this girl's story back then would have said, like, you hear about her walking alone to the well in the middle of the day and you automatically know something's wrong with her. Nobody does that. Like, why is she walking in the well by herself? That's weird. Her story talks about, what was her story? What was her big sin, like the big shaming thing for her? Yeah, she had 5 husbands, was working on her 6th. She, because of her own sin and because of the sin of people against her, I don't know how she wound up with 5 husbands, but sin isolates. I want to see, do you see the effect of sin is isolation? The effect of the gospel is to repair that, but the effect of sin is isolation. So this woman is totally isolated. People choose not to be with her, and you know what? It's probably a lot easier for her to just go to the well by herself. Not have to deal with all of those clowns. Just do her own thing. It's probably just a lot less hurtful for her to just go. But the thing is, Jesus sees her. He sees her future, and he knows it's going to happen because he's going to make it happen for her. His love for her is so pursuant. It's beautiful. So here's the setting. He's sitting on the well. What would be the polite thing for a man to do is when a woman approaches the well, for him to get up and move over so that she knows, hey, I'm not going to mess with you. You do your thing at the well. You know, you're safe. The normal thing for a woman to do is if she sees a strange guy that she's never seen before in her town at the well, I'll come back later. And they would keep their distance. It's just what they did. So, kind of shows us a little bit about their heart, the heart of Jesus. Bring it on. The heart of the woman. This is interesting. Who's this strange, tall drink of water? You know, I mean, not that he was attractive, but because it says he isn't. But she was super comfortable challenging. Men were her thing, right? This is her thing. And if you were walking by, your assumption, if you were walking by and you said Little Miss Hoochie Cooch was talking to some strange guy at the well by herself, your assumption would be something really shady is happening. I mean, it would stop you in your tracks and you'd be like, why is she talking to that guy? We've never seen him before, but this is not good. I mean, this would be something that would stop you in your tracks. And Jesus is intentional about breaking down barriers, and he comes into the situation knowing what he's doing, not for shock value, like, I don't care what people say is right and wrong, I'm going to do what I want. He's being very intentional and wise about how he's breaking down this situation. But there's lots of reasons why it's weird. She's a woman, he's a man. Rabbis didn't even talk to their wives in public. And he was an honored teacher. So, I mean, you would just never do this. Samaritans never talked to Jews. Like, Jews, they hated each other. There was a lot of mistrust. Samaria, they were half-breeds. They were traitors. Samaria was a place where a lot of the conquering nations would headquarter and attack Israel. They had their own temple. You know, they said, you know, Israel, you don't like us anyway, so screw it. We're just going to build our own temple over here. We know that God says that his temple is there, but we're going to build our own. I mean, there was just so much mistrust and hurt between those two people groups. And then he was a clean, upstanding, moral teacher, and she was a homewrecker. I mean, her sin hurt her community 5 times. She was known to be a dangerous woman. No woman would have felt safe with her. No woman would have trusted her. No man, if he wanted to keep any reputation, would have trusted her or talked to her. Or, well, they wouldn't have talked to her anyway. But she was so isolated. And so if we're watching this woman walk up and this guy at the well and they start talking, that would have been mind-blowing. And we get to eavesdrop on what's going on. He says to her, give me a drink of water. She's like, how are you even talking to me? And he's like, if you knew who I was, you would ask me for water. It's like if I have $1 billion and you know that, and I'm like, hey, give me $10. You'd be like, you give me $10. Like, you've got all the money, right? He says, if you knew who I was and what I was offering you, you'd be like, give me what you have, give me what you have. Anyway, sir, you have nothing to draw the water with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob? He gave us the well and drank from it himself, and so did his sons and livestock. Jesus said, everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty forever. The water that I will give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. Okay, there's this strange dude at the well, and she's like, I think he's talking about water, but I get the feeling he's talking about more than water, and I'm not exactly sure what is actually happening in this situation. Jesus has this tactic. He says, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you that you are thirsty. I'm going to show you where you go to get your thirst quenched. So he says, go get your husband. I don't have a husband. That's right, you don't have a husband. You have 5 husbands, and now you're living with a guy who's not your husband. How do you know that about me? They've never met before. This is the most shameful thing about her. And he just says it. I mean, my friends are really good about calling out sin. I mean, we know that sin robs and isolates, so we hate it. So friends, my closest friends will come up to me and say, Julia, I can see that you're really struggling with this idol. Like, this is really deep in your heart. That is like mind your own business. This guy comes and he just tells her, never met him before, just tells her the most shameful thing about herself. How do you know that? Did someone tell you about me? Like, what? Am I on hidden camera? So she throws up, she changes the subject. Like if your friend says, hey Julia, I see you really, you're really holding on to this really tightly. And I'm like, so let's talk about predestination. I just changed the subject. He's like, here's the most shameful thing about you. See that you're a prophet. Like, it's just like, she just changes the subject because that's too scary, right? To have a stranger know you? She doesn't know if he's nice. She doesn't know if he's on her side. She doesn't know anything about him. It's terrifying. To be known, first of all, to be known is terrifying. But to be known by someone that you don't know if they have your good at heart is scary. And he, such passion, leans in. He doesn't let her go. He doesn't let her throw up smoke screens. He cuts through the smoke because he knows what he's about to offer her. He's about to offer her himself. An intimacy that she's never known before. A friendship she's never known before. She says, I see that you're a prophet. Are we supposed to worship on your mountain or my mountain, like our temple or your temple? And he says, you know what? The hour is coming and is now, we're neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem at that temple will you worship the Father. What he's saying is, we're not going to need either of those spots because I'm here. And I'm the presence of God. And remember that promise in Genesis 3 when God said, I will send a seed to crush Satan's head? Remember that promise from like 1,000,000 years ago that God made to you? Okay, I'm the answer to that promise. And all of the focus, the lens of all of history is being tightened in and coming into clearer focus. Jesus, what he's saying to her is, you're not going to need a temple. I am the presence of everything that your heart is hungry for. Ladies, what's really going on in this story, it's a story about thirst. What's true about you, because you have a pulse and you're a human being, is you are thirsty. That's how we're wired, right? John says, this is something that Les Newsom talked about last week. John says, I am the vine, like Jesus is the vine, and you are the branches. You are meant to suck life from something. That is your design, right? So this is you every day of your life. You are a life sucker. That's what you are. And it's a good thing. You're meant to suck life from somewhere, right? But the thing is, You're using something in your life. You're sucking life from something in your life, right? It's like a Slurpee. It's probably a good thing. Some relationship, some gift, some opportunity, some talent, some friendship. There's something good in your life today that you will suck life from because every day you're a life sucker on purpose. It's like a Slurpee. I don't know, do they call them Slurpees where you're from, or Ices, or Roo Cups, or whatever? The Slurpee is good, right? But there's always a bottom to the cup, and you hit the bottom of the cup, and the Slurpee always runs dry. I don't know if you've ever been in a movie theater where someone's doing that behind you, but you're like, stop. It's so annoying, that sound. But the Slurpee always runs dry. Doesn't mean that the Slurpee's bad. It's just not enough. So the other day we were playing out here, the interns and some of the staff were playing volleyball, and we've been playing volleyball for quite a while. And I was so thirsty, like the salt had kind of built up on my mouth, and I was sandy because we'd been diving, and I was so thirsty. We went to the cooler, and all of the water bottles were gone, and all that was left was ice. So we were just reaching in the ice and chewing on the ice. And I mean, it was cold and it was wet, but I couldn't get enough ice. You know what I mean? And so someone finally got a cooler, one of those round ones, filled it up with water, put it on his shoulder, and we were all able to just like get under the stream. And it was so refreshing, and just drink and drink and drink and drink. When I talk about good things and how we use them wrong, what I don't want you to do is one of two things. What I don't want you to do is say, separate yourself from every good thing. It might, like, I don't want to become a slave to it, so I'm going to separate myself. That's not what I want. But I also don't want you to say, good things are my only hope for belonging. Good things are my only hope to make me matter. I want you to see those good things as a trampoline. If this good thing is really a taste of Him, and it's that good, man, I want to know Him. If I get so much joy from this, I want to know Him. I love my husband. I will suck the life out of my husband if I could, right? Like, make me feel good about myself. Like, tell me that you love me. You know, I will suck him dry. He is not where I'm supposed to get my life from, but he's a picture of Him. Kevin's love is a picture of Him. A beautiful meal with friends, with community and enjoyment, is a picture of what He is. It's a taste. These things are tastes of Him. And they're meant to be, boom, trampolines, right? They're good. They have great worth. But for why? So that we can be pushed to see Him and long for Him and taste Him more and more and more. What is good about this thing? Well, it's probably good because that's a characteristic of Him. You are thirsty for belonging. You are thirsty for a home. You are thirsty for rest. We are born thirsty. What are you sucking on? What are you sucking on? What's your Slurpee? Well, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but who steals your thunder? What girl just annoys you? Could be that she's annoying because she's taking the one thing that you're counting on to make you feel special, and she's using it to make her feel special. What's the one thing you're so afraid of being taken from you or losing? What's the one thing you want so badly? Like, if I could only have... It's probably the thing that you're counting on to give you hope, to give you rest, to make you matter, to make you seen, to make you heard. Y'all, we know we're thirsty because there's this thing called FOMO. What's FOMO? Just say it.
Fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. Well, some people, their FOMO is way high. Some people, their FOMO is way low. Have y'all not heard about this before? FOMO? Okay, fear of missing out. Like, if you just can't, you hate to miss out. Why do we hate to miss out? Because we're thirsty for people. We're thirsty to belong. Why do we stress about anything or worry about anything? Because we're thirsty for rest. We're thirsty women. The water that quenches your thirst is a person. And he's a person who is coming after you. He's a person who's fighting for you. He's a person he's God who became thirsty so that you can thirst no more. He was on the cross, and the God of all eternity said, I thirst. And he became human and thirsted on your behalf to satisfy you. Do you understand? If you are a daughter of the King, he is coming after you and will not stop until you are completely satisfied in him. Do you understand? He will fight for your satisfaction until the day that you die. And then once you die, he will continue to supply satisfaction for you. I want you to see who the woman becomes real quickly, and then we'll close. Let's go back to John 4. Let's just see what happens to her. Just verse 27. Just then his disciples came back. They marveled that he was talking with the woman, but verse 28. So the woman left her water jar and went away into town and said to the people, come see a man who told me all I ever did. Can this be the Christ? And they went out of town and were coming to him. Verse 39. Many Samaritans from that town believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me all I ever did. So the Samaritans came to him. They asked him to stay with them, and he stayed there 2 days. And many more believed because of his word. They said to the woman, it is no longer because of what you said that we believe, for we heard for ourselves. We know that this is indeed the Savior of the world. He changes this woman from a thirsty home wrecker into a woman who is able to reveal him to thirsty people. He is in the business of making all things new. Her story is completely different. One of the reasons humans are on this planet, we see in Genesis 2 there's this thing called the cultural mandate. And what the cultural mandate is kind of saying, in a generic sense, not fully, but in a generic sense, this is why you're here. And one of the reasons you're here is to have dominion. What does that mean? That means dominion. We are God's representatives. We're made in his image. And it is our purpose, one of our purposes, to go out into the corners of our world and establish his rule as his ambassadors, to reveal his character to a thirsty people. This girl, she goes back to these people who know about her, and they've leaned out. We know the truth about you, and it's not worth it. She goes back to them, and she doesn't say, hey guys, look, how much I've cleaned myself up, or how different I am now, will you accept me? She says, hey guys, I just talked to this guy who knew everything about me. And y'all know everything about me, and you've leaned out. But this guy leans in. She went back to a hard place. I mean, people that did not like her, to reveal who he was. That's scary. And it's risky. I don't know if we can do evangelism and not be terrified. Right? To reveal him to people who will probably hate you or mock you. I mean, to reveal him to your sisters. I mean, it's evangelism is sacrifice. We're called as believers, the body of the Christ, to turn the other cheek. What does it mean to turn the other cheek? Most people think turn the other cheek is, when you're with your enemies and they hit you or whatever, be like, yeah, I'll take it on the chin for Jesus, hit me again, and you turn the other cheek. That's not what they're talking about. Turn the other cheek, it's a symbolism of friendship. So when I met you, greeted an old friend, you would kiss on the cheek in this culture, right? So what Jesus is calling us to do as women who know him, and thirst is quenched by him, is to go into places where people, they may not like us, or they may just be annoyed by us, or they may not see our worth. I mean, I'm pretty sure these people weren't like, oh, we're so glad you're here. You know what I mean? And for us to reveal him, and when it doesn't work, or when it's awkward, or whatever, they shame you, they make you feel like an idiot, to lean in with another kiss of friendship. We are called to be revealers of who he is. Because girls, the people around you, your sisters in this room, and the people in the world, they are thirsty because they are human. And they are sucking, and you are sucking, and I am sucking the life out of every good thing around us because it's never enough. We need to see him. So that is our calling. What is it? Y'all have something in your story. You have lived lives I have not lived. You've had dark moments that I've not had. You've had, Jesus has shown himself to you in ways that I don't know, like that I've not experienced. Y'all have a signature story with Jesus. And you can reveal things about him that I can't. And you don't have to have the answers when you're talking about Jesus. You just have to have your story. Well, I don't know a lot of things, but I know that he sees the real me and he leans in. I mean, I don't know about like the end times or like tulip or I don't know a lot of things. But I know he really knows about me and he's still fighting for me. You don't have to have the answers. You just have to have your story. Because people are dying to know that there's someone out there. And you know what? It's not just someone. It's the only one that matters. Anyway. All right, let me pray for us and y'all are dismissed. God, thank you so much for your word. Thank you for what you are dreaming for your daughters. Thank you that you reach out to people who just messy and you come after us. I'm so grateful for your heart. The fact that you see things for us that we can't even dream for ourselves yet. It's your name I pray. Amen.